What's up, you guys? It's Jonathan Carter, the movie critic that watches bad movies so you don't have to, and today we are talking about Scream 7. Scream 7 is the newest entry in the Scream franchise that has spanned 30 years now. There is a lot of controversy behind this movie, which I am seeing a lot of online. We'll get into that a little bit in this review. I'm not really going to touch on it, but the Scream franchise is probably my favorite horror franchise. I think it's easily the strongest in the horror genre. There are a lot of horror franchises, there are a lot of weak horror franchises, and Scream at least is the most consistent. With that being said, before we jump into this review, guys, let me know your thoughts on Scream 7 in the comments if you have seen the movie. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and without further ado, let's jump into the review.
Hello, Sydney. Did you miss me?
Okay, so right at the top, the controversy with Scream 7. The writers and directors of Scream 2022, Scream 5, and Scream 6, Radio Silence, did not return for Scream 7. What started was essentially Melissa Barrera, the star of Scream 6, was fired for putting her political opinions online. Shortly after that, Jenna Ortega left. Originally, she said due to scheduling conflicts, but recently said, yeah, once Melissa Barrera was fired, it just didn't really feel like the Scream franchise anymore for her, so she left as well. And so with kind of Scream 7 up in the air, the original writer of Scream and Scream 2 and also Scream 4, Kevin Williamson, came back to not only write Scream 7, but also direct Scream 7. Also, Neve Campbell came back as Sidney Prescott. She missed out on Scream 6 because Radio Silence didn't want to pay her what she was worth. So glad she stuck to her guns, and now the studio thankfully wants to pay her what she is worth in this Scream franchise. Anyways, very long intro there. I do want to talk about Scream 7 as a movie. Neve Campbell is back as Sidney Prescott, and honestly, probably since the second Scream movie way back in 97, I believe, when that one came out, Neve Campbell, Sidney Prescott, is able to be front and center of Scream 7. She is the epitome of Scream Queen, and it's so nice to see her finally leading one of these movies. She was in Scream 3, but was kind of saved until the end of the movie, and then Scream 4 is when it started balancing the legacy characters with like newcomers. And then Scream 5 is when Radio Silence came in and kind of pushed the legacy characters out a little bit, which also led to Scream 6, Sidney not being in it. So Scream 7, Sidney is back. She has a husband, she has 3 kids, and that's what this movie focuses on. Sidney being a mother and not wanting to pass her lifelong trauma of being hunted down by Ghostface killers onto her children. She wants to save and help her kids not have the trauma that she had, but by doing that, she's also finding maybe she's protecting and holding them a little bit too close, where they can't be their own people. And her teenage daughter, who is the main kid in this movie, that is their relationship. Her daughter does not want to be coddled and sheltered so much and has to tell her mom, like, you have to let me go. You have to let me be my own person. Now, the big story here is Kevin Williamson returning as the writer and director of Scream 7. And I've seen some reviews on YouTube and also like articles online essentially saying it wasn't Kevin Williamson's writing that made the Scream, like the original Scream and Scream 2 and Scream 4, like so great, but it also wasn't Wes Craven's directing that made those movies great. It was Kevin Williamson and Wes Craven together as a team, and I honestly couldn't agree more with that, because while Kevin Williamson is a great writer in the Scream franchise, his directorial debut in this movie is lacking a lot of style. I've also been seeing that this movie feels like it's written by AI. I don't necessarily believe that. I just don't think that the script is nearly as strong as it could be. It does feel a little bit hollow for a Scream movie. This is the first one that made me think, okay, maybe this series is running out of gas a little bit, like we should either try to end it soon or find a new, more interesting angle for this series to continue on. Otherwise, maybe we should just let it end. Scream 7 is the first movie in the series that truly made me feel like we are running out of reasons for Ghostface to come back, and the series is running on fumes and lacking a lot of creativity. Ghostface is very menacing in this movie, and you do get great jump scares. It does treat its legacy characters with actual care and respect, unlike Scream 5 and Scream 6. It still feels hollow. Getting 6 sequels into a series, and this being the first one that I'm asking that, is very impressive for a long-running horror franchise, but it also is exactly that. It made me question, why are we doing this movie? Unlike the other Scream movies that kind of definitely have their ear to the floor on what is happening in the horror genre, like as their movie comes out, or like anticipating when the movie comes out what the horror genre will be like, this is the first movie to not have that kind of, it doesn't have anything to say about the current state of horror, essentially. It does cover a lot of like what's going on with AI, but that's not the element or genre of horror, right? So while it has maybe some interesting topics on AI and things to say about it, it doesn't have anything to say about the current state of horror, which is very weird for a Scream movie. I also can't go any further without talking about the Ghostface reveal here. I won't get into any spoilers, but this is easily, out of the entire 30-year-long 7-film franchise, this is easily the weakest Ghostface reveal out of the entire franchise. Like, I literally, when the reveal happened, I actually laughed in the theater. Like, I was like, wait, is this what we're doing? Is this actually who Ghostface has been? And once they start explaining their motive, you're like, this doesn't make any sense. Normally, it's a tie back to Sidney, or like in 5 and 6, Sam as the main character there. It ties into their history, and this movie doesn't do that. And you're like, wait, is this actually who are these people? Like, is this what we're doing? So, wrapping this up with the verdict, while it's great to see Sidney Prescott back as a main character in the Scream franchise, and you do get some gnarly and intense kills with Ghostface, Gale has a lot to do here as well. This movie treats its legacy characters with much more respect than 5 and 6 did. It just feels like, why are we making this movie? Why do we need to make Scream 7 besides a studio mandated project? And this is the first movie in the franchise that has me asking that, which is not great. Your mileage will definitely vary on how much you get out of this movie, depending on how much you like the Scream franchise and how much Sidney Prescott, how much weight she has to you as a lead character in the Scream series. All that being said, I'm gonna give Scream 7 a 6 out of 10, and I want to see it, stream it, or skip it. Stream it if you are a fan of the Scream franchise. Let me know your thoughts on Scream 7 in the comments and the franchise as a whole. How are you feeling about the current state of Scream? Thank you all so much for watching my video. Please be sure to like and subscribe. And as always, I will see you guys on the next one.